Hey, it's Clint. Back in the warehouse with the AM32b lathe. Finally kind of getting some ideas together as to how to approach the machine, how to, bring it back to some former glory. Right now it's fresh out of a basement. It's got a little bit of a odor to it. It's got a lot of grime on it. It's really dirty, and it's old and it's seen a lot of use. The great thing about this machine is that the pedestal that everything sits on and where the power comes in and stuff is very robust. It's like hand welded angle iron with body panels bolted to that frame. So I think I've identified my first task is to get in there and get these panels off. And so, what I found out is that they're all held on by nuts, and it's a 7mm nut. And so I'm going to go in there with my ratchet, and we're going to try and see if we can get some of these remaining body panels off, and then what it's going to take to get some of the ones that have controls and stuff on them, what we have to do to get that taken apart so we can get those panels off. I think my goal is to strip it down so what's left on the frame is just the wiring, and then we'll determine how much of the wiring stays and what needs to be stripped out, and then start figuring out the power panel on the back corner. So here I am inside the bottom of the lathe pedestal. I'm going to be down here for a little bit working on these nuts that hold the body panel on. You can see one up here by my head. That's a bigger one there. I'll take pictures of some of the ones that are holding the body panels on, but you can see behind me, you can see a rheostat that somebody installed to control the vacuum motor, which is a cool mod. I'll take more pictures of that as we go on, and I might actually try and keep that particular mod. And you can see the wiring harnesses up there that go to various portions of the lathe, some of which we know we're going to have to keep, and some that may have to go. We'll figure it out as we go. Well, here's kind of some of the stuff that's on the inside of the pedestal. This is amazing craftsmanship. Everything's hand welded on these angle iron frames. There's an interesting transformer and electronics for some of the motor controls. And you can see more of the wiring harness, and some of the original switches up here are still in. But by and large, it's pretty empty. You can see the rubber feet are decayed. So we're gonna have to just find out where we can get the parts. Stuff like that's pretty easy to find, and we'll see what modern great stuff that we can put on this machine to make it even better than it was in the 50s. Well, we're gonna work on taking some of these nuts off of here. They all seem to be pretty loose, not any kind of a problem getting these off. The biggest thing will be just to make sure that we keep all of them. So I got my red Solo cup there, not for drinking at the moment, but for holding these nuts. So as I'm getting up under here and getting some of these nuts off, these end pieces are my favorite pieces of sheet metal on here right now. These things are amazingly well built. They're very sturdy, very cool. I'm gonna try and pull this one off so I can get to the rest of the screws that hold the side panel on, and you can see that they're held on. They're slotted down into these great tabs that are down here, and it looks like that it might only be held on with one nut. So I'm gonna get that nut off of there and see if this whole panel comes off. Well, I got the first side panel off, and that gives me access to more of this kind of trim piece over here on the side. And I did get the one screw out that I thought was the only one holding it, but I think there's another nut right here holding that piece on. So, and also it's going to be weird to try and slide it up with this angle iron jammed up against it, this shelf jammed up against it, but we know it went in, so in the end it can come out also. Well, that second nut definitely was the one. When I pulled that nut off, the piece literally just fell forward that way. So no clearance problem against this front shelf at all, and pretty excited about that. Well, the next thing I've done is I've pulled out this shelf that holds the chip jar, which is the glass vessel where the waste material, the vacuum system pulls that into the jar for disposal. And then this is the manifold from the actual vacuum system. It does two things. It sends vacuum to the chip jar itself, and then it also sends vacuum up to the platter of the turntable to hold the disc down while it's cutting. The build quality of this stuff is amazing. You can see all the angle iron. It's all welded, hand welded, and this one still has a piece of the former vacuum cleaner system, vacuum system on it. So we'll have to get that all cleaned up, and all the original paint. It's nice to see the underside. It's still clean and shiny after 70 plus years. Well, next we're going to move over to this other body panel over here. This one's going to take a little more effort. There's this mod on the machine where they put a variac on the side of the machine. This is more than likely for the vacuum system. The voltage that these machines usually give the vacuum pump is too much. It's loud and it creates noise in your cut, so you can radically reduce the amount of noise by putting a variac, a rheostat of some kind on that vacuum supply motor and bringing it way down, and you can get really good results that way. So a very clever mod here, and you can see it's bundled into the wiring harness. So we'll have to see how to kind of get that off. It looks like it's either screwed on or soldered on the top there. Well, I got that side panel off, and yep, here's that rheostat, variac, whatever you want to call it. I have no idea if this is a safe idea or not. But it probably did the trick, and it probably saved a little space in the studio. So actually, you know, kind of a cool piece of thinking back in the day. Since that power stat, rheostat, variac is part of the vacuum system, it makes sense that this switch probably here, the one labeled chip removal, it has a direct connection to the variac itself. So I would expect something out of this switch right here to wind up at the variac on one of those leads that I unscrewed. Well, we've got the sheet metal basically stripped off the sides right now. I think the next thing to do is to start investigating the electrical, try and trace down some of the beginning and endings of some of these switches so we could disconnect these and then start working on getting this top piece pulled off to expose then this shelf right here. The shelf may have to get redone. It's absorbed a lot of the moisture over time, and it's a little weird. So we'll have to see if that can get cleaned up and distinct, and then you know, we'll keep moving forward.